Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. It's October 16th, 2025, and I'm back with another break time message. I hope you're doing well and that the day is treating you kindly. Thanks for being here, everybody. So, it sounds like at least one world leader wants this rising magistrate gone. This person that's about ready to step on scene in the 3D. So now these guys who failed to keep her buried are being told by this powerful leader to get her under control. Apparently, yesterday, this person named Rebecca is a copycat or somebody who's just being driven into a thing. These masculines are going to do some very bad things, and it sounds like they're either going to try to frame this magistrate with a crime and then an extreme sort of unaliving or whatever, or punishment, or they want to generate some kind of false evidence about some debauchery or fraudulent activity or something. They want to either file a death certificate or frame this woman as fraudulent and then get her evicted, rejected. So I thank God that he is my witness, and I just pray that he doesn't get distracted. Okay, so these ones are talking about armament. Now, armament is military weapons and equipment. They could be talking about that because a few days back they were talking about blowing up the United States, and they were also discussing what kind of armament this woman had in her home. Now, they're very, very serious about shutting this woman down. God has resurrected her, led her back into an ascension, wants to place her into a position, and there are a lot of masculines out there, some of them very high-ranking, terrifying leaders want her gone. They do not want her coming up into space because she does not think like they do. She doesn't play the same game, and she doesn't come from the same environment, the same cliques. She hasn't been trained in their agenda. She has her own agenda. So it's like they'd rather go to war with the USA than permit this well-qualified feminine to take position. Someone said light or fight. I suppose that this is the competition, to see if light can withstand the darkness of these worshipping masculines who enjoy fight and actually fuel all of their intentions with the energy that stems from that fight. And it sounds to me like this magistrate is a survivor of extreme mental, energetic, and emotional interference from these people waging proxy wars, in which the citizenry suffers most. So she made it through that, and now they do not want her coming into the position that God wants her in, and they do not want her turning the light on in the people. They want people trapped in the fight. It's a choice. At midnight, something was going on. They did not intend for humanity to rise like it is. They're very upset about this. There's something about an organizer as a destroyer. It's like anybody who tries to touch this magistrate will be destroyed. She is receiving this blessing, and anyone attempting to stop it will be undone, was the message. So there's that. Fair warning. Somebody was complaining that they didn't get an opportunity, and they were told that they had falsified evidence that she was innocent. Somebody mentioned the name Tiffany. This curator seems to be talking about this magistrate's power system Somebody is asking about her energy supply. And the answer is she is her own energy supply. And it sounds to me as though this curator may have been forbidden to use the word appetizer regarding harvesting humans. There's something about the rocky road of passion, as if somebody knows that they are done. They mentioned the word Babylonian. There's something about Cancer. And quote unquote, she has her own supply of energy. It sounds like these ones are vampires who do not have their own supply of energy, that they rely on harvesting energy from the populace in order to fuel whatever it is that they're intending to do, their manifestations. They're really upset because this feminine has her own energy supply. She is her own supply. They do not want her stepping into position and creating a scenario where the people become their own supply rather than be the supply of others. They want to continue harvesting, and she wants to put an end to it. Diversity was mentioned, which is to include or involve people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds. It's a range of human differences that arise from variations in personal experiences, worldviews, and circumstances. Quote unquote, she's been granted dominion. And a few days back, on the 9th, as a matter of fact, Earth Woman was given control of the planet. So she has been granted dominion, which is supreme authority and a territory under that rule, the power to rule. Now, these masculines who are these terrifying dictators and such, they don't want this woman coming up. I mean, she has been given dominion, and they do not, no matter what circumstances, no matter what arises, no way, shape, nor form does this curator or these other masculine leaders who hate her, or the other feminines, they do not want her rising. They do not want the people to be elevated, to be their own energetic supply, to be running around happy and healthy and, alive with the energy of the sun. She is qualified, proven, and chosen. They're complaining about illicit drugs, which is so funny. These guys, they come up with their little definitions and their little categories and their little boxes to put everybody in, and they're so ill-informed and radically insisting that they know all there is to know, and they can perfectly well manage from that position. So anyway, these masculines and others are calling plant medicine illicit. They want everybody on synthetic medicines, and that is a plan. Synthetic medicines, you cannot survive. The temple cannot survive on poison. And they do something to the medicine, which gives them power and authority over your timeline. So anyway, they're really pissed. They're really upset that this magistrate uses plant medicines, and they feel that she is cheating because the regimen that she has in order to bring homeostasis and settling of the energies in her flesh temple that houses her spirit and soul, it's made her her own supply, her own energy supply. Now, they like to say illicit drugs as though they're talking about LSD or some kind of hallucinogen, And it just isn't that. They're very ill-informed. There's certain plants out there that can break down in specific components, There are different components within the plant that serve various portions or parts of the body and its cellular structure. And they're very ill-informed, and yet they feel that they can sit there and, you know, pound their little gavel in or whatever and tell everybody that, you know, they know everything. And they just simply don't. They just simply don't. They want everybody on synthetic medicines because it sickens the body and weakens the energy production of it. They're real mad because this woman has figured out a combination of things to really amp up the energy supply. They're really mad that she's her own supply. She doesn't have to go harvest life force vitality out of the animals or anything else in order to be present here with life. She is life. Just because these ones get all whacked out in the head over stuff doesn't mean, you know, humans do, you know, because I don't think these ones are human, you know. I think there's something else. So obviously they must have a different response to plants. I don't know, but somehow they got all wacky in the cabeza about it. So they're very angry that this woman has the ability to properly nourish the CB2 receptor, which creates greater light activation within the flesh temple. They feel that the collective who they are attacking without success are cheating because their cellular structure is being taken care of in a way that they have not approved of or even considered may have happened in somebody's life. They do not want the temple getting activated with this. They do not want these cells, these receptors, activated or functioning. They want them to remain dormant. They want everybody to remain in fight mode. They do not want them advancing into light mode. They want to silence this woman. They don't want her sharing decades worth of research as she used herself as her own guinea pig to find out what works, what doesn't, and how. She wants the people to be their own source-connected light body, to be wrapped in the light of protection, to be fueled and filled by the light of the sun. You know? Every garden requires good light in order to grow substantial profit. There's talk of a slowdown. It sounded like the curator is telling somebody that everything is slowing down. There's talk of a demi-goddess and her activation. There's talk about an altercation. And it is unclear whether they have had one or whether they wish to create one. This is the message that I have for you. I hope that it brings clarity to something you already intuitively knew, and I'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.